So I initially had a completely different plan for today's video, but since it's summer, let's talk about summer. Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex, and today we're talking about beach vibe books. So I feel like everyone kind of knows what like a beach read is, but I wouldn't really call these beach reads. They're more like books that remind me of the beach, or they're like set in the summer on a beach. I don't know. I think everyone kind of has their own definition of what a beach read is to them. And these don't really qualify for me as beach reads. Like I said when I opened this video, this was not the plan for today. So typically what I do is about 2 months out, I'll make like a filming schedule for myself, just so I can like kind of see how everything is gonna lay out, and I can stay organized, and I can, you know, make sure I have like fresh and new ideas, whatever. We're kind of on the tail end of one of those 2-month blocks. And so 2 months ago, Alex, that made this block, was extremely ambitious. Like, she can totally get all of this stuff done in time. Yeah, today, this week, Alex was not up for that ambition that 2 months ago Alex was. So I had to like change my plan for today on the fly, basically. At the beginning of the week, I knew I wasn't going to be able to pull off what I wanted to originally, and so I started cycling through a bunch of ideas for today's post, and this is the one I ended up landing on, and I almost backed out of it last minute just because I was having trouble like finding books that fit this vibe. Like, when I first thought of the idea, I was like, I can think of 5 books off the top of my head right now. And then when I sat down to write them down, I literally drew a complete blank. I don't know what I was thinking. And so like I just kind of went through a little bit of a like panic. But then it all kind of came back. Whatever, we're here now. And we're going to talk about books that give me the best beach vibe. Before we get into it, make sure you hit all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting. I post every week, and all we do on this channel is talk about books. So if you like listening to people talk about books, here I am every week doing just that for you. Let's not waste any more time, let's get into it. The first book we're going to talk about today is Adrift by Tami, Oldham, Ashcraft. Before you guys come for me and say, Alex, this is a really sad book. Hey, I didn't say that these were going to be like fun books. Like I said, let's talk about this for a second. My definition of a beach read is probably like something fun and flirty and on a beach, right? These are not beach reads. These are beach vibes. And this one's got all the beach vibes, okay? So first things first, this is a memoir. So Tami, Oldham, Ashcraft, like this is her true story of her and her fiance getting lost at sea on their boat. Now, that's not the whole story, okay? There are some really great moments. So we open in the book with, I can't actually remember how we open. Maybe we open with the boat crashing. But as we're settling into Tami being lost at sea on the boat, she's giving us all of this backstory. Like, she's recalling all of these moments in her life when she met her fiance, when she started, you know, touring around the world on a boat. And she goes to these amazing places. Like, some of them she goes on her own, and then some of them she ends up going with her fiance. And just the amount of beautiful storytelling and like description, like I felt like I was on vacation with them. Like, we were just visiting these most beautiful places, and the atmosphere was just so great. So yes, this is like a survival story of her, you know, finding her way out of a shipwreck kind of situation. But we're also getting all this great, almost like tourism type writing, and adventure writing at the same time. And it just like, it gave me all the vibes. Okay, I've talked about this book a lot on my channel. I did a film versus book on this one too, if you want to go check that out. I did really like this book. I didn't like the ending, But because it's a nonfiction, like it's a memoir, this is Tami's like actual life. This is everything that happened to her at this time. I can't really comment or, judge her for any of the decisions she made because, yeah, it's not me. It's not me, and this was real life, and I can't comment either way. But yeah, all the beach vibes here. The next book we're going to talk about is The Fifth Letter by Nicola Moriarty. Okay, I read this a little bit ago, but like if you look at the cover, it kind of gives like a beach vibe, like those row houses that are on beaches. Do you know what I mean? I saw this, I was like, oh, I think this one's set on the beach. So then I looked into it, and like, yeah, it is. This one is kind of more, I don't know, I wouldn't really call it a thriller, but it's definitely not anything else. So we have these, I think it's 4 friends that are in their 30s, like they have kids, and I think they were all like college friends or something, and all 4 of them get together once a year to go on like a mom's girl vacation, okay? To like get away from their families and just spend some time together and just be normal people, right? So they go to this beach house. They go and they're having a good time, and then they all decide to do this kind of game where they write a letter telling their darkest secret, and then they all turn them in anonymously, and they each read someone else's letter out loud. So it's a way for them all to like kind of let go of something that's bothering them while it's still being anonymous. It's kind of weird if you ask me. Because like there's only 4 people, so it's like I feel like it would be kind of easy to figure out, especially if you've known these people a long time. I feel like it'd be kind of easy to figure out who wrote what letter. Anyway, so as they're sitting down to read the letters, a 5th letter appears, and it has the darkest secret of all on it, and no one can figure out whose letter it is, who wrote it, and who put it in the pile. So yeah, this one was definitely interesting. So when I tell it to you like that, it sounds very thrillerish, like very knife edge. It's not like that. It doesn't have that vibe to it. Like I said, I definitely wouldn't call it a thriller because it did not have that feel. But I wouldn't call it anything else. Like, it's not a romance, it's not contemporary. Like, I mean, I guess it's contemporary literary fiction or something, because it's just a snapshot in time of these ladies and like all their secrets kind of coming to life and them having to figure out how to move forward once they know these things about each other. It definitely did give me the beach vibes because the vacation was on the beach. But the other part of that book is set back wherever they're from. Do you know what? This book kind of reminds me of that TV show Friends from College, or College Friends. I'll put the picture up here. It's on one of the streaming platforms. Now I can't. I'm sorry. My brain, it's not happening today. It's not happening today. I'm trying my best. But now that I'm thinking on it, it reminds me a lot of that show. So I guess if you like that show, you might like this book. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Last House Guest by Megan Miranda. This one is a thriller. We're just going to start the gate with that. Obviously it looks like a thriller, like the cover, So basically what we have is a vacation destination and have like a class separation, right? We have all of the rich people that come here to their vacation homes in the summer to stay and party and have a nice summer vacation, and then they go home. And the other part of the people are the people that live there all year round. So, they're the people that take care of everything while the rich people are gone. But there's a huge separation and class difference between these people. I mean, you have like uber wealthy people that are coming in for 3 months out of the year to, toil away in their really overpriced houses and do bougie crap. And then you have kind of lower to middle income people that are basically keeping the island or vacation town running in the meantime until the on season happens again. So that's kind of the dynamic that we have here. And in one of these situations, we have a girl from a very rich family that befriends a girl from the working class of this town. And I can't remember quite what the dynamic is here, but there's a lot of like close relations there. Like they grow up together, they end up feeling like sisters kind of thing. And one summer, on the last night of summer vacation, the really rich girl ends up missing. The investigation gets put on hold for the off season, basically. And then when the season starts up again in the summer, people start pointing the finger at this other girl, this middle to low class girl that lives in the town. So, does it have perfect beach vibes? It's set in a beach town, and there is a lot of like geographical stuff that's happening in this book that is just like the beach vibe. But it's not like summer beach all the time because we're dealing with on and off season. So it's not always like super sunny, beautiful, like perfect beach kind of thing. It's sort of a mix of both of those worlds. This book ended up really surprising me. I wasn't sure about halfway through whether they could keep the plot up because it did kind of feel like I figured it out halfway through. I didn't. I really did keep it up until the very end. So I did end up liking this one, and yes, it gives you beach vibes, but not in the typical way. The next book on the list is The Beach by Alex Garland. Okay, well this obviously had to go on the list because it's called The Beach. So I mean, of course it has beach vibes. This is another one that's really different. This book is also kind of older. It's not usually in the typical lineup that I read. Like, so we're following a male main character that I think is like in his early 20s, and he's decided that he's gonna backpack around like Thailand and like that area. He's extremely depressed. He's a loner, traveling alone, and I think this was probably in the 70s. So yeah, no smartphones, no nothing like that. And people just kind of like traveled a lot more back then, I guess, like this type of traveling. So he ends up in a hostel and can't really figure out where he wants to go next. Well, he hears this guy in the room next to him talking about a secret beach that no one knows about and is like paradise, right? This guy ends up giving him a map to this place. So he talks to a couple of French travelers, a man and a woman, and he's like, hey, this guy in my room next to me like told me about this secret place. Do you want to go? I mean, it's one of those places where they try getting a boat there and the boats won't go there. So they're like, we can get you to the island that's closer. And they're like telling them, you shouldn't go to this beach, like it's not, you're not supposed to go over there, like it's not safe. And you know, they're like, whatever. So they get the boat to take them as close as they can get, and then they find their way there. And when they get there, it really is like paradise, and there's a group of people living there like secretly, and they join them. This was turned into a film starring Leonardo DiCaprio. I watched this film when I was too young to watch this film. I want to go back now and watch it because obviously I didn't read this book when I was that young. Like, I read this book probably like 5 years ago. So I'd like to see this movie now that I'm, one, old enough to like watch it, and two, now that I've read the book, because the ending of this book was wild. Like, I don't remember that in the film. That's why I need to go back and rewatch it, because I'm like, I don't remember that happening. But now I have to know if they put it in the film or not. So, this book was pretty wild. If cults fascinate you, this. Okay, because it definitely had a cultish vibe. And you know me and cults, like, I eat that up. So, this had a cultish vibe to me. It does have just like peak beach vibes, because like it's like an island that they have to themselves. So like it's beach living. Like, they don't have any electricity. They're all like built this like paradise on a secret beach in the middle of nowhere, and they're all just kind of like living there in harmony until they're not. So yeah, this one was definitely interesting, and yeah, I'm gonna rewatch the film for sure. The next book I'm going to talk about is Girls' Night Out by Liz Felton. Okay, so we have a group of 3 women that own a company together, I think. And they decided to take a company trip to Tulum, Mexico. I think that's where they go. So obviously beach vibes right there, right? We're in Mexico, we're on the beach, we're seeing all these like really cool places and ruins, we're on this like super cool resort, just like, you know, perfect beach vibes there, okay? And then, the 2 girls wake up in the morning, 2 women, sorry, they're grown women. 2 women wake up in the morning and they realize like the kind of leader of their group is missing, and neither one of them can remember what happened the night before. And so as they're going through the day, they realize that she's not there, they don't know where she is, and nobody can find her. They're going through the days trying to figure out what happened, and as they start piecing together their memories, they start to worry that something really, really bad happened that neither one of them want to talk about. So, lots of really cool dynamics here. Lots of dark secrets, lots of animosity, and then on top of that, you're also dealing with like a government that's not the US government, but you're dealing with US citizens that are stuck in another country trying to solve a crime. So, you know, there's that whole, I guess you would call it like a domesticity issue, or like a, oh, what's that called? Jurisdictional mess. Yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, the vibes of this book, like when you, in terms of like location, immaculate. Like they knocked it out of the park with this. Like we visit so many really cool places in this book, and it honestly, like, even though it didn't like end that well, for one of them, like she went missing, it was really like, huh, maybe I should add Tulum, Mexico to my bucket list. As they did a really good job of like selling the location, I would say. Like it sounded beautiful. So yeah, beach vibes, immaculate. And like the thriller aspect of this was really good. Like it had me on until the last couple pages. It was a good one. Okay, so I saved the best one for last. This is my favorite on the list. It's The Island by Elin Hilderbrand. So, I really love Elin Hilderbrand. Okay, and I don't really talk about her that much on my channel, I don't think. If you have heard me talk about her, it's probably from the Winter Street series. But this was the first like standalone book of hers that I read, and I remember just absolutely loving it. So we have a mom, Birdie, that's recently divorced, and her oldest daughter, who just turned 30, is about to get married. And like a couple months before she's supposed to get married, she calls off the wedding, like out of the blue. And then not that far after she calls off the wedding, like a huge disaster happens in her life, and Birdie is like panicking because her daughter is going through all of this stuff and she doesn't know how to help her. So she decides to take her oldest and her youngest daughter to their generational home that's on an island off Nantucket Island. And she also invites her older sister to come there, and they want to have a healing reset of a journey while they're at this home. This book was just packed full of secrets, and I loved it. So there was a lot of secrets, because obviously the older daughter that canceled her wedding, like there's a whole story there that she's kind of tucking away and not telling people. And she finally is able to deal with everything enough that she's able to come out with this story. Well, at the same time, our main character Birdie is dealing with her fairly recent divorce from their dad. So she's dealing with this. She's also like finding love while they're on this island. And then the younger daughter, Tate, I just loved her to death. I loved her to death as another like younger child. Like Tate just spoke my language. She also is in the process of finding love and just sort of becoming her own person, like breaking out of her mold, I guess you would say. And also the aunt, that is just like perfect aunt. Like that artsy, eccentric aunt, that's her. And she's just like perfect in this book. Yeah, this has all of the beach vibes because they're literally on an island that's just outside of Nantucket. I think it's called like Tuckernut. I think that's right. So it's like, it's very, very small. There's only like a few families that have houses on this island. And yeah, so it's like very secluded, very like just beachy all around. The one thing I will say about Elin Hilderbrand, she writes extremely privileged literature. Like, all of these families that you read about are not hard up for money, okay? They're very well off. So sometimes there's a relatability issue for me, because obviously I'm not someone that just owns a generational home on a private island that you can only get to by plane. Obviously I don't. So there is sometimes relatability issues with her books, but if you're just able to just close your eyes to that a little bit, then and just focus on the characters and like what they're going through, then these books are really, really great. You can just imagine them being on vacation, not that they like own the house, you know. You get it, you know what I mean. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this worked. I don't know. I don't feel like anybody watches my channel anyway, so like I could probably get on here and talk about like polka dots and I would still get the same kind of response that I get normally. So yeah, make sure you hit all the buttons down below so you know what I'm posting. I post every week, and maybe next week I'll talk about polka dots. Maybe I'll see, maybe I'll shake it up. Probably not, because I can't bring myself to do things like that, but you know, yeah, you never know. Let me know in the comments what your favorite beachy vibe books are, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!